Hello everyone, I'm back with another art tutorial and today we'll be doing a leafy background with some calligraphy. For today's project, I'll be painting the whole background first using a lemon yellow kind of shade, and I'm using watercolor pans for this purpose. I'm using a thick flat brush in flat strokes to cover the whole background. After the background dries up, I have started with a light green shade. With this, I'll be first painting a leaf-like shape on top of the sheet. I have taken help of a mop brush here. Next, I'm using a olive green kind of shade and mainly towards the stem side, and as you can see, since the leaf area was already wet, the new shade kind of blended easily. That is, because of the water, the shade spread easily onto the surface. Similarly, you can keep on using more and more different kind of shades in this leaf. Like now, I'm using a very bright dark green shade towards the left side and some thin particles towards the right side as well. Make sure you're doing this while the sheet is still wet, otherwise the paint won't blend easily. And by chance if the sheet becomes dry before you put in the shades, you can always apply another coat of water. Now at the bottom of the sheet, I have taken a detail brush with which I have painted a thin stem, as you can see, with an olive green kind of shade. And for the leaves, once again I'm using a mop brush. I'm using a bright green shade, not very light, not very dark, and I'll be painting some circular kind of leaves which are light at the center and darker at the borders, or rather the far end of the leaf. For the darker ends of the leaf, you just need to put more pigment towards the ending side and not towards the beginning side. As you can see, from the center I pulled my brush towards the ending side so that the center area becomes wet and most of the pigment goes towards the ending sides. To make the ending sides more darker, you can add a darker shade towards it. I also added secondary smaller leaves in between wherever space was left. With the same shade of green, I did the veins for the leaf which we had made first. Now for the leaves, I'm using an angular brush. As you can see, using the shape of the brush, I am effortlessly drawing the leaves. When you start from the stem, apply the brush with light pressure mainly towards the thin side, and when you move towards the center where the leaf becomes thick, apply more pressure to the brush so that it becomes flat onto the surface, and while going towards the end, lift your brush off the surface once again. I added darker shades of green for more shades into the leaves. With the same angular brush using a yellowish olive green shade, I did some more leaves, and onto that I'm adding a light green shade and then a dark green shade. You can add shades of green as per your own wish. Now once again, using a detail brush, I'm doing another leaf structure here. For this, I'm using a rather darker shade of green. For making darker shades of green, you can take some blue into the existing shade of green you have. And as you can see, with the detail brush itself, I'm painting the leaves directly. I'm using the brush in a wavy kind of manner. Adding some darker details towards the ends. And with another brush, I just did some random leaf structures. For this, I just used one shade of green and left some white structures between the leaves empty. Now starting with the calligraphy, I have first drafted my text with a pencil. For the thinner lines, I have used a black gel pen, and for the calligraphy, I'm using a thin tip brush pen. As you can see, for the upward strokes, I'm using thinner strokes for which I'm not applying a lot of pressure on my hand. And while coming down, I'm applying some pressure on my hand so that the brush pen leaves a thicker stroke onto the surface. That is, for upward thinner strokes, do not apply a lot of pressure on your hand, just use the tip of your brush pen. And while doing the downstrokes, apply some pressure on your hand so that you get a thicker stroke while going down. I always tend to hold my brush pen in a slanting position, which helps me do flourishes. Here I'm using a thin tip marker for a thicker line. Here you are with your leafy background with some calligraphy. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Also, if you recreate this, you can send it to me on my Instagram handle, link for which is given in the description. Thank you for watching.